Hello, disruptors, and welcome back to another transformative episode of Mindset Mastery Moments. As you know, I'm your host, Dr. Alisa Whyte, and today we are diving into the powerful conversation about visibility, confidence, the art of impactful communication. Whether you're leading a business, standing on a stage, or simply trying to be heard in your everyday life, mastering your communication skills is the key to influence, impact, and, income, and ultimately just being successful. I know you can't help but notice the gorgeous blonde I have on camera with me today. My beautiful friend, sister, and a powerhouse queen in the world of communication and in the world just totally. Sara Nystrom is here with me. Say hi, Sara.
Hi, Dr. Alisa. Hi, everybody listening. Thank you for inviting me. It's an absolute honor for me to be here with you today.
It is so cool to have you, my sister. And so we're going to have a really great conversation. But here's the thing. I got a question for you. Did you know that statistics show that over 77% of people experience some level of anxiety around public speaking? Yeah, we've heard about it. Most people are afraid to get on stage. But it's making it one of the most common fears in the world. But that's not what she's here to talk about. Because beyond public speaking, a lot of people lack a lot of confidence in communication, which holds them back in their career, their growth, their relationships, and just ultimately self-expression in general. Research even suggests that a strong communication skills can increase your leadership effectiveness by 50%, significantly impacting professional success ultimately. So today, my incredible guest, Sara, is here to give us firsthand, because she knows what it takes to transform from feeling unseen to owning your voice like a queen. Sara Johanna Nystrom is an award-winning author, speaker, and communication expert who has dedicated her life to helping others find their voice and speak with confidence. She is the author of the acclaimed best-selling book, From Feeling Unseen to Speaking Like a Queen. And today she's here to share her journey, her expertise, and some powerful strategies to help us communicate with impact. Sara, once again, my sister friend, welcome to Mindset Mastery Moments. We welcome you. So just let's dive in. Who are you? What do you do? Why do you do it? How did this all get started? Being unseen to speaking like a queen.
Oh, thank you for that warm, beautiful introduction, Alisa. And, those questions are big questions, and you know that I'm quite a talker. So you open up a box of, those questions I can talk days about, but I'll try to behave. And, who am I? My name is Sara Nystrom, as you so beautifully put, and I am born in Sweden, but I have always felt a global citizen. My country is a small country in this world with 10 million inhabitants, and also my language is small. So I think I've always hungered for the world. I've always been pulled out there. I think I am born pretty adventurous. I love adventures, risks, challenges, growth, all of that. So already at age 19, I left my home country, Sweden, to just go explore the world. And I have done for many, many years, working and studying and learning many languages. And during those years, without knowing it, because we often don't see things as we go through them, but now that I look back at my life, I see that that was a huge gift to me that prepared me for my mission that I'm now on, that I know we're going to talk about more. I was recently invited to inaugurate or be part of the inauguration of a new travel agency in Nigeria. And they asked me, how many countries have you been to? And actually, Alisa, I had never checked it. I didn't know. So the evening before, I was like, gosh, I got to find, because they sent me some questions. And I was like, oh, I got to do my work. I got to do my homework. Now I got to find out. So I downloaded this app to my phone to find out how many countries have I been to. And I was blown away myself because I found out I've been to 70 countries. And so I did that myself. Yeah. So I have been to 70 countries. Many of them I traveled to by myself. I have lived in 10 countries.
And how many languages do you speak, Sara?
I speak 8 languages. That includes my own language, right? So I learned 7 languages. And, those more or less 25 years around the world, many of them by myself, have taught me so much. More than anything else, self-awareness, self-confidence, to stand up for yourself when you need something and learn that you got it all within you. You got all the resources. We may feel like we need others, and that's nothing wrong with that, but we got so much more power and resilience and resourcefulness within that we learn, and we explore that when we are forced to it. Right? So many times I found myself out there in the world, and I had to rely on myself because there was nobody else, right? So life kind of gifted me with these experiences, and today I believe, Alisa, that was preparation, part of preparation for my mission, because I know that you believe this too. We all have a mission here in life, right?
Yes.
There is nobody that doesn't have a mission. Now, those missions can look very different from each other, obviously, right? But I think life is about finding that mission, finding that place in your heart. Explore what that mission is. Well, mission is such a big word. Maybe everybody doesn't resonate with the word mission, but the thing that makes you tick, the thing that makes you feel happy.
Yes.
Yeah. Did you say the
oomph and the oomph?
Exactly that. Forget about mission if you don't resonate with that word, but the thing that makes you So find that and follow that and share it. Go share it. Share the heck out of it with the world, because that is what you're talented and gifted and
that's your happy place.
There to do, right? So in my case, it happens to be communication, because I see communication as something holistic. If we want to build great relationships, you want to impact others, all of that, it all starts within.
Yeah.
It's an internal process. So we need to begin with ourselves. And maybe it sounds like cliche, but it's really, really true. So self-confidence, self-esteem, and self-love, these things are key to become impactful. It's not about the body language positions or the way you say things. We can forget about that. Is great, but that's like class 100. Class 1 is all about yourself.
Yes.
And to transform the limiting beliefs you have, because if we don't believe in ourselves, these are the signals we're going to send out subconsciously. And nobody, no matter the most confident body language position you have, nobody's going to believe you because you don't believe in yourself.
Yes.
Then you opened up with some amazing statistics, and I also want to share. There is this statistic that comes from, Dove, the soap brand Dove. They sometimes do this pretty amazing commercial promo, half semi documentary, and I don't know if you heard about Dove Real Beauty Sketches. I think that's called. It's quite old.
I don't watch enough TV to see.
Oh, I really recommend that you watch it. I
probably need to go look for it on YouTube. I'm sure I'll find it.
Yeah, I'll send it to you.
Maybe throw it into the video production.
We can put the link maybe here below too, because it's pretty amazing. So they have this forensic artist that a woman describes her looks, and he will draw this picture of her, right? So she describes herself. Then she will have another person who watched this woman and describes her looks, right? You understand? So one is herself describing her looks, and the other one is another person is describing the same woman's looks. Now, if you put these pictures next to each other, they're completely different.
Wow.
Because the women themselves, they don't see their own beauty. Actually, only 4% of the women in the world find themselves beautiful.
My goodness.
Let that sink in for a moment. That means that 96% of women around the world think they are not beautiful. And that belief, I don't even talk about, we talk about physical beauty now, but we are so much more than physical, right? So if you don't think you're beautiful,
that's it, exactly.
You probably don't think you're beautiful in any other way either, right? Or very little so. And that belief, 96% of women think they are not beautiful in any way. That is my interpretation. That affects the signals we send out. That affects when we negotiate. That affects when we build a relationship. That affects how we raise our children. It affects everything, right? because the signals we send out there, how we perceive ourselves, will be ultimately how others perceive us.
Right.
I think everything starts with self-love and self-esteem and self-confidence, and this is what I'm all about, because I think that the world is ready for women now. The world needs feminine energy.
Yes.
So I think you agree with me, because we talked about it before. The world is so imbalanced that when 50% of the population is functioning in a way that we don't use our resources, women are born to be queens.
Yes.
It's just that most of us, we don't know it.
Right. And being a queen is being in harmony with ourselves first, and the stories and the script that is happening internally from what you're saying as well. And then that energy, and we coming from that space of confidence and harmony, then I really do believe, and a lot of people just promise me to listen this out, who run the world, right? Beyonce says, who run the world? Girls. Who run this? And I'm like, we do. We really do. So much of the tone we set. So when you give us a statistic that 96%, I mean, you could listen to half full, 4%, only 4%, 44% believe they're beautiful, and 96% don't think they're beautiful. 96% of us don't have a true healthy self-image. We're in the world, not just women, the whole world, in my opinion, because we run the world, is in trouble. So I am guessing this is why you penned this book, and I love the title, From Feeling Unseen to Speaking Like a Queen. Because obviously, if we have 96% of women that don't have a good conversation with themselves, then even though we might be so powerful in the boardroom, even though we might be blah, 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 we're still not giving the right gift to ourselves, so we're able to give a good, thorough, clean, and pure gift to the world, right? Even though we're doing a great job.
Yeah.
Because so
100%.
Exactly.
And I think a lot of women feel forced to go into the masculine energy to succeed.
To be heard, to be seen.
To be heard, and because to compete. But the thing is that we have access to something that men don't have access to. And I don't say that we are better in any way. Secretly, we are a little bit better, but of course, I don't say we are better. I don't say it's about
us can do it. Yeah.
It's not about taking over from the men. I mean, we're all needed. But the world needs more queenliness. The world needs more
true feminine energy.
Unleashing the feminine energy, because that is so powerful. That's equally powerful. It's different, but it's a very powerful energy.
And I want to say true feminine energy.
Yeah.
Not tainted feminine, overpowered by masculinity.
No.
Feminine energy in its natural form. Yes.
That's what I also am about, that we teach in Communication Queen, the authenticity. Yes. And when we are aligned with our heart and our soul, and we speak authentically, our queenliness will shine through, and that we're going to be in our essence, right? But what I want to, if we step back to what we said before about women not believing themselves, not loving themselves, where does that come from? I just want to say a few words about that. And we have been socialized in many parts of the world. Anyway, most parts of the world, right? Mm-hmm. Historically, a woman has been the one to care for others, right? Mm-hmm. And it's also in our genes, right? It's both socializing and partly biologically, I would say, to take care of our children and our families, right? Now, there are many responsible men out there doing that. I'm not saying that. But we have been taught to take a step back with regards to our own needs, right? Mm-hmm. It comes natural to a lot of women. Maybe not to all women, but to a lot of women, right? Yes. So if we do that again and again and again, it becomes a habit. And then what we learn, what we teach our brains is that my own needs are not as important as the need of others.
Yes.
So when we then we bring that with us into when we're going to negotiate about our salary, for example. And then when we are in a scenario, we negotiate about our salary, and we still have the mindset that my needs are not so important.
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy I don't say that all women think like this, but just to say for a moment, I exaggerate a bit. I'm just happy I have a job,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe what I contribute with is not as valuable,
Right.
So I settle. I'm okay with that salary, and the lack of confidence, right? And I know because I had a job. I worked for the Swedish governmental agency, the migration agency, for many, many years, close to 14 years. And then that was still me. I had all my life experience from around the world, and I ended up in the migration agency. So instead of going to the world came to me, right? I worked with asylum seekers as a team leader for many years. What I noticed at work, but I noticed many things about communication, because there I came with all my experience of communication, and I had beautiful colleagues. I'm not going to say anything. I mean, I learned so much with them and from them, but I also realized that I had skills that everybody doesn't have, right? Which is the reason I'm now doing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But especially for negotiating salary.
Yes.
I know this.
Yeah.
Because I would be preparing well, and I would have like maybe 3 or 4 pages with the things I had accomplished, and you have to give me a raise, because I spoke for myself, right? Yeah. I spoke for myself, and sometimes there would be disagreement and a process, and because the boss, they always have limited, especially the governmental agency, they often have their hands tied. They only have so much money they can spend, right? And that's a totally different discussion. But let's just say that I negotiated.
Yeah.
I spoke. And this is many years ago. And I realized that everybody, especially not women, don't do that.
Don't do the negotiation. I teach
because you have to have the confidence, and you have to have the self-value
to be able to do that. Exactly. And in the program, and I know we're going to get there later, but this is just because it's connected to it. So, with the book, I also built a mentorship program, and before launching it, I tested it, obviously. And I was because we can have an amazing idea, but we don't know if it works until we test it, right? Right.
So only speaking about value and how that can transform you. So one of my test users, my very first test users, so many things happened to these women. And I think we can talk about it later, but just example now. So when she had been through the program where we worked fiercely on reprogramming our limiting beliefs and such, and self-love and all of that, she increased her sales.
Wow.
And people started telling her that she radiated energy, because we also work with our energy. Yeah. We work with we can work on our charisma. We can work on our glow. There's so many things we can do to set up our energy. Yeah. So she did that, and she seriously committed to doing all the things that I offered in the program. And she raised her sales. Wow. Because she started believing in herself, and she started realizing that, hey, I can charge because my products are damn good. But it's like something shifted within her. So this is why I'm saying that when women start really truly believing in themselves and in what they do,
they get to do amazing.
And nothing will hold us back. Imagine when women start doing this. I get so passionate about this. When 50% of the population tap into that unstoppability,
it's contagious. Yeah.
And
everyone else.
The world would change, Alisa.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh, I love that so much. I'm aware that you had this pivotal moment in your life, an accident that brought you close to death. That was such a powerful turning point for anyone. Can you walk us through what happened and what experience taught you about resilience and self-expression?
Thank you. That is a great question. If you don't mind, Alisa, can I go rewind a little bit before the accident, because the accident is a big part
Absolutely.
of
Yeah.
the story, right? So I'll bring you back to the beginning of 2020, where I had realized in my heart I wasn't living from my heart. I wasn't happy. And so I took some very uncomfortable decisions that year. I left my almost 14 years of employment. I ended my relationship. And I entered this unknown territory. Which being me, I don't mind being in unknown territories, right? But those were emotional decisions and tough decisions to take.
Yeah.
But I just reached a point where I felt I wasn't happy. And that I needed to listen to my heart. 2 weeks after I took that decision of leaving my 14 years of employment, and it was a good job as a team leader. I had a decent salary and quite some responsibility being part of the management team. What happened is that about 10 days after me having resigned from my 14 years of employment, what happened is that the pandemic came. The pandemic came, and me with my quite new business I wasn't ready for that. And I know that a lot of entrepreneurs struggled, and even bigger companies struggled throughout the pandemics, right? So I had to start looking for a job again because I couldn't adapt to the new world that came with the pandemic. So 2020 became a year of me about searching, and I've always known that I have a mission within. It's a funny feeling, but I've known I'm here to do something. I just didn't know what it was, and I've always had this frustration within. And at some point, when I started working at the migration agency, I was tired of, it's tiring to be searching for such a long time. But there I was again. I left those 14 years of employment because I also know that I can't stay here because this is very far away from what I'm meant to be doing. So 2020 was a year for me when I was looking for a job. And during the pandemics, that it wasn't very easy to get a job. So it became a year and whereas I looked for a job, I also started meditating regularly. And it's funny how this mantra came to me because I suddenly got a mantra, and it was like this: I'm ready to give, I am ready to receive. This would be what I would say every evening: I'm ready to give, I'm ready to receive. And I was surprised myself, but just went along with it. And towards the end of that year, after a late night phone call with a friend, it just came to me. What I had been anxiously waiting for and searching for and getting tired of searching for, but searching wasn't searching. Searching was preparing me, I think. And when I had finally given in and decided to follow my heart, taking those very difficult decisions, leaving my job, which was my safety in my life, leaving a long relationship with who actually was the father of my son. I didn't mention that. That makes it even more difficult decision to take. But I stood up for myself because in my heart, I believe that children are happy when parents are happy.
Yes, period.
Yeah. But then again, I don't judge anybody staying for the cause of the children. This is what my personal belief is.
Yes.
So anyway, I'm sidetracking back to that. So I got a phone call with a friend by the end of that year, full year of meditating and wondering and questioning and, what's going to be with my life. What about this mission? What about that thing that I'm meant to be doing? So all of a sudden it hit me like lightning. I remember it as if it were yesterday. It was like being hit to the ground. Very, very strong communication queen came to me. I was writing, and I felt like the hand was writing by itself. It was so strong. It never happened to me before. And I've been writing for a while, and I look at paper, and I was surprised to see that I'm going to be working with women. Because never in my life, I'm not being attracted to working with women. I mean, if you would ask me before that, why? I want to help people, sure. But women, no. It's not my calling. But little did I know it was my calling, right? So I posted on social media, and instantly, I mean, very soon, I got like hundreds of likes. That never happened to me back then either. It was the first time. Within 30 minutes, my phone rang and I was invited to speak on an online conference in Kenya, a Pan-African conference about women's empowerment. And that it was like a snowballing effect or domino effect. One thing leading to the next. I was invited to co-found a global organization called Well Women Organization. And I gave my first workshop in this concept. The ink had barely dried on the paper, Alisa, and I created this workshop only months after it came to me. And I didn't have money to do ads. Forget about the ads. I posted on my own Facebook page about this webinar. Now I have quite a global network, and I am a crazy optimist, but I was totally blown away with what the things that happened, which to me shows that I am on my path, right? Because when we follow our heart, I believe we get help. Everything flows so easily.
Yes.
So without ads or anything, you know how many women signed up? I think I may have told you when we have talked to my first webinar. 70 women from 20 countries showed up. Signed up. And then I was thinking, well, it's for free, right? So maybe 5 will show up in the end, because all coaches out there, we know that when it's for free, people don't show up in reality. They sign up and then they don't show up.
Right.
Out of the 70, 50 showed up. and there was so much traction in the room. Everybody asking, when is it going to happen? What's going to happen now? And, then I knew that I was onto something. I built this Facebook community, and in no time, there was 1,000 members from like 45 countries, 5 continents. And I was like, it was mind-blowing, right?
Yeah.
I had created something that became magnetic and had huge potential, but I wasn't in the right place myself to take care of that. Moment, right? Yeah. There is a mission, and there is this following your heart, but we also need to be, it needs to be the right timing. So I discovered it, but I wasn't there.
It wasn't time.
So we're approaching the accident now, because my life started spinning very quickly, and being someone who had searched for my mission for such a long time and almost given up on it, when I finally found it, I started breathing my mission. I started living my mission. I couldn't stop myself. I didn't sleep well. I didn't eat well. I stopped, exercising. I stopped seeing my friends. Of course, I took care of my son. But other than that, I existed just for Communication Queen. The book took me 2 weeks to write, the actual text of it, the one that I recently won an award for. And that's crazy. I was crazy, and my family was worried about me. You know what happened then?
You were a mad scientist.
I think that up there, the universe, I believe in the universe, they said, Sarah, you find your mission. You finally found your mission. You're ready. Mm-hmm. But no, you're not ready, because it's not time. It's not your time. You need to take care of yourself. Mm-hmm. Because, and this is one of the lessons, we can't help others unless we help ourselves. We can't save the world. I want to contribute to making the world a better place, but everything starts with ourselves.
Yes.
And as I said to you before, nothing could have stopped me.
Right.
I was a powerhouse. Well, I think I still am, but then I was like really pushing forward.
Yeah.
So then I had an accident. That was the only thing that could stop me. I went skiing with my son, and to make a long story short, I had a brain bleed, a subarachnoid hemorrhage caused by a aneurysm hidden deep within my brain. Now, the mortality rate is estimated as high as 60 to 80%, and of those who recover, only 10 to 20% recover fully. So, it was a serious thing. I was at the hospital 5 weeks, 3 different hospitals during 5 weeks. And because my aneurysm was hidden so deep within my brain, this is something you need to fix immediately. But they couldn't, because they couldn't access it. It was so small and it was so hidden. And then you think, oh, it's small, so it's not so dangerous. But on the contrary, I was in a leading neurosurgical hospital, and they didn't know what to do. So these were weeks where I had to use all my inner power, all the strength that I worked on my entire life. I had to use all of it. And today I know that while I was very, very lucky and I had the best medical care, I also know that my attitude helped me survive and helped me recover quickly. So I want to bring you to one moment. This is going to be my next book, by the way. But the night before my surgery, my son and his father visited me at the hospital because I was strong enough to receive, after having been very weak, I was strong enough to receive visitors. And my surgeon came by to talk to me, but we couldn't talk in my room because my son was there. So I stepped out very weak to another small room. And he looks at me and he tells me that, Sara, we're going to do the surgery tomorrow. We can't wait anymore. And there is a risk you will die tomorrow. But if you don't do your surgery, there is a 70% risk you will die at your home because your aneurysm will rupture again. There is a 50% risk you will get a brain stroke tomorrow. And this can affect your speech and your, your brain functions. There is also a risk you will not wake up. Wow. I took all those words and I went back into the room where my son and his dad they were waiting, and I couldn't say much. What can you say? I can't say anything about it because you can't tell your 8-year-old son about these things, right?
Right.
So minutes later, I was walking them to the exit, and I remember my son jumping up and down, bouncing up and down, better put. And he says, see you next week, Mom. And I said to him, see you next week, my darling. And in my heart, I was praying, please, please, God, let me see my son again. And I whispered to his dad, who was walking next to me, I may die tomorrow. And he said to me, you're not going to die. And usually between two of us, I am the one who's the confident and he's the one who's worrying, but we switched roles that moment. And he said to me, you're not going to die. And I said, no, I know, but just in case, Now, thanks God, everything went well. The surgery that was supposed to take 6 to 7 hours took only 3 hours.
Wow.
And I'm back stronger than ever. And actually, they couldn't believe that I recovered so quickly. They called me, even 1 year ago, they still call me because they present my case at medical conferences because it's so unusual, the recovery and everything is so, and also the procedure is very uncommon, right? Because they had to think out of the box. They had to take risks because they didn't know how to go about it, right? For a while, they were about to perform craniotomy. Yeah. If you know what craniotomy is, they open the whole head.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was so afraid. I was so afraid that it's difficult to explain. I really got ready to die. I even contacted a friend of mine and asked her, because I'm very active on my personal Facebook page, I use it like my blog, and I asked her, if something happened tomorrow, I want you to be that person who transformed the page into a memory page. I don't know how you call that. That is a special role you can assign to someone. Yeah. So I actually took measures to get ready to die. Like, really? God. And then, I realized that the fear is in our head.
Yes.
And I was afraid. I was trembling under the sheets when they got to get me for surgery. But in my heart, I knew I would make it. In the heart, I had faith. So I had these two different personalities almost at the same time, one being very afraid and one being, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
And that's what happened, right? And the last moment when they gave me, the mask for getting, how is that called, sedated, or for
yes, we need to be sedated. Yeah.
Yeah. They fooled me. I'm so easily fooled. They said, we're going to give you some oxygen, and I believe, how you're going to get oxygen. I didn't even have time to be afraid of that. Right. And so when they placed that mask, I remember my last thoughts, because I really didn't know, right? I knew I would make it, and I didn't know. So I promised myself that moment, Alisa, that if I survive this, I promise to contribute to a better world the way I can do it, right? I really really said those. Those were the words I remember. The only thing that mattered to me that moment, what will happen. But if I survive, this is my promise. And I'm here. So yes, I'm back with my mission now.
Yes, to help people come back and have that confidence. That is such a powerful story, Sara. And so in your book, it lays out some proven ways people to communicate with impact, just like you just did.
Yeah.
Can you
100%.
share one or two practical strategies that our listeners can implement today to improve how they show up and express themselves?
The whole foundation for my book and program is to work on your mind every single day, because that is like a muscle. People go to the gym and they work their bodies. We talk a lot about that. Not everybody, but it's something we strive. If we don't do it, we strive. A lot of us strive.
Alisa, even if we're just dreaming about it, we are. No one our body is more muscle.
And I don't say it's not important. Of course, it's important. It's important with self-care. That's part of self-love, which is also important for communication and impactful communication. But seeing your mind as a muscle and not something you're born with, something that is static.
Right.
It's not static. It's something that
You have to
can
grow it.
evolve as much as any muscle on your body. That's why I call it a muscle, right? So we need to find ways to constantly work on our mind. And what is our mind then? Our mind is everything. It's a self-confidence, it's a self-esteem, self-image, all the selves, right? Self-love. Everything starts there, right?
Yeah.
Self-compassion to become our own friend. Resilience, like I had after my accident, a lot of resilience. That is a muscle. And the attitude is also very important, because a lot of us, and it's not, I don't blame anybody, a lot of us are pessimists. And that is an energy, and energy affects people. Right? We have to constantly grow our optimist muscles, and that is something, optimistic and positive energy is something that attracts people, something people want to be around.
Attracts more positivity and light to you.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And that is key to growing. Charisma is more complex. It's not like optimism equals charisma. No, it doesn't. It's more complex, and I write about it in my book. But positive energy is definitely part of it. Confidence is part of it. So if we want to attract people, we need to work on that muscle. Yeah. Another thing is to nurture inner child. That is also a very attractive energy. As we grow up, most of us lose touch with our inner child. And that energy is very, very powerful. Very, very powerful. We start taking ourselves very seriously. And even though there are times for that, I don't say that we jump up and down, through life, because sometimes that life demands that we are serious, right? Even though I think that playfulness can be useful in most situations, right?
Yes.
But yeah, this would be probably one, and maybe that is one point, that we see everything as a muscle, right? Then I'm actually opening my book, because I have 7 steps, so I don't know which one. The number 2 would be, I'm looking through my 7 steps. The second thing is that reality doesn't exist. What I mean, I'm not going to go into a long philosophical discussion, but we think that reality is the way it is. But we forget that we have one reality, and the person in front of us has another reality. Everybody lives in their own reality, and we get upset when people don't
the reality doesn't correspond.
Is he stupid? Is she stupid? Because we are the stupid one, right? Everybody else is stupid. We perceive things differently, right? Yeah. So we have to be aware of how we perceive things differently and adapt. Because communication and impactful communication is like a dance. And it's about being empathetic enough. And that's also a muscle, right? To grow the empathy and emotional intelligence so that we understand to adapt.
Yes.
I still train this every day. This is a hard thing, a challenging thing to learn.
Yes.
But just deciding to start practicing that is a big step along the way of becoming more impactful, of connecting stronger to other people. Because when you start adapting, I don't say adapting that we're going to stop being ourselves. That's not what I mean. but following their style in communication more,
Yeah.
then they will feel more connected to you, right? And you try to put yourself in their shoes also, not only their style, but also understanding their needs.
Right. Exactly.
And not only think about, because we often think about our needs, right?
Yeah.
And that's, I think, is depends on where we are at our journey of personal growth. I think our whole life is a journey in personal growth, right? So depending on where we're at, we will start realizing that it's not only my needs, it's also about other people's needs. So
exactly.
I think impactfulness has a lot to do with that, and connecting with others has a lot to do with that, with the empathy of connecting with others, right?
Exactly. Wow. Oh, wow. Thank you for sharing that. I love those two principles. You blew my mind. Definitely disrupted my mindset on reality. But the minute you said it, it makes sense. I mean, there's no point of, I don't need a scientific explanation for it when you're like, yeah, your reality is yours and everyone has their own. And how is it going to be a real? Because what is real is constant and cannot be changed, right? Or it might evolve, but it can't be changed. It's just what it is. Like, for example, right? Oxygen, like we can adapt how we might put perfume in the oxygen we breathe has that scent. We're adding to the oxygen and the atmospheric, that doesn't change, but opinions and ideas and perception does, right? And it varies. I love that. So
I get frustrated and provoked. Sorry, I get frustrated and provoked every day. Or maybe not every day, but of course, because even though I do my best to practice what I preach,
right?
But I fall. Also, I'm human, and every time I do, I try to remind myself, even though I may not always see it. But I just want to say that too, that I'm definitely not perfect, and I'm still learning every single day, because I see it like a muscle, right?
Yes, a conscious awareness and continual consistent practice is how you get to mastery. So we're all on that path, and we have different degrees of and levels. There's levels to it, right? So I love it. So on the show, Sara, we always love to do a segment that's called Flip the Script, where we take someone's challenges or setbacks like yours, and turn them how you turn them into your greatest opportunity. So I know that you have taken your journey and your self-discovery and even some of your pain when it comes to suffering such a major life altering, because it wasn't just a one and done. You couldn't tell us the whole story, but there was so much intricate details. What do you do now with that? And who do you serve and how do you serve them?
I believe that, as I said before, everybody gets gifts throughout their lives and we may not see them. And by gifts, I don't only mean positive things. I also mean the big challenges. These may very well be our biggest gifts, maybe our challenges, right?
Absolutely.
And it takes time to realize that. So with all the gifts I've been given, including my big challenges and my smaller challenges, there have been many of them. So now I'm at the point where I package them into my book, into a program.
Mm-hmm.
And I had my mission very clear because it came to me. I didn't find my mission. I was searching for my mission for so many years, and suddenly my mission found me.
Yeah.
So I have created these products from what life has taught me. And I'm taking these products to the people that my mission has told me. And that's the women of the world. So I have been a woman who has lived my life pretty much out there around the world. And I know it's because my mission is for the women of the world. So I want to reach as many women as possible out there. I'm preaching that you were born to be a queen. And don't you let anybody else make you believe otherwise, including yourself. Right? This is what I preach.
Yeah.
What I preach. And yes, through my book and through my program, I am, together with my team based in London, we aim to reach as many women as possible. And we are now launching in Pakistan, United Arab Emirates, and the UK. These are our current countries that we focus on.
Wow.
I've also been a lot in Africa, especially Nigeria, and, you know, I want to reach everywhere.
Absolutely. Wow. Congratulations on being so clear and committed, because we know how much that takes. So what is the next biggest thing for you, and what mindset shift you have to make to be able to accomplish those goals that you have set up for yourself?
Like the launches I mentioned, they are ongoing.
Yeah.
I have also, as you may know, I don't know if you mentioned it, from my book, From Feeling Unseen to Speaking Like a Queen.
Yes.
I recently won awards, Author of the Year and Book of the Year, which to me, they were not only about the book. It's so much more than the book. It's my whole life, actually. It's my whole journey, including my accident and everything that I've overcome along the way, right?
Yeah.
So we are now launching the second edition of this book, an even more improved version than the one I got the awards from. And the next step is to get it. We are currently in this bookstore called Waterstones, which is Europe's biggest bookstore chain.
Yeah.
And so currently we are available online in Waterstones, but we are now going to get the book to the physical stores in the UK. Yeah. And so I know that will happen, and because I know it will happen, you know, that is the place we want to be at. We want to, by believing in so much, it will happen. Law of attraction, right?
Yes.
The mindset.
The mind leads the way.
Mindset.
Yeah.
There. So, yeah, the second edition and the launch in these countries. And as for my own mindset, as I said to you before, yeah, everybody, we are all on this journey. And it's not because I'm preaching these things that I'm done. Of course, I'm not done. I have a lot of growth still to do. Yeah. For myself, I have a very, very a mind that is always at full speed ahead. Yeah. And that is a gift, but it's also a challenge. So even though I learned from my accident, I need to remind myself daily not to run too fast. Mm-hmm. And there is something called divine timing, I believe. When is the right time? We may think with our egos, and you know, we think that now.
Now is now or never, but it's not always.
I'm a very impatient person. I still am a person, and I still get frustrated when things don't move the speed I want. Yeah. But so this is probably the thing that I need to remind myself, to bring myself back to, remind myself of, that things will happen when they're meant to happen. It doesn't mean they're not going to happen. They're going to happen, but they happen when the time is right.
Right, yeah.
That is probably the thing that I want to remind myself and the listeners too.
Yeah.
And also to take good care of myself, because we cannot help others if we don't help ourselves. Everything begins with ourselves.
I agree. That is so profound. My goodness. Sara, in Flip the Script, the last question I have for you is, what is success mean to you now compared to earlier in your journey?
I love that question. Love that question. So if you would have asked me this before, I would probably have been talking solely about the success, meaning meeting my goal, and it's still my goal, to impact with my message and to make a living from it.
Right.
I believe that we can save the world and we can make lots of money. Some people think that we cannot do both of them, and I say 100% we can do that, right? Before, I would probably have said that is success. But today, I know that success to me has to be fully aligned with my heart, with my soul, with my mind, with my life, you know, because I think a lot of people today they sacrifice.
Mm-hmm.
And I have done a lot of sacrifices. This hasn't been an easy journey, and I don't think it was meant to be an easy journey, but it's not sustainable if we keep paying with our health and with things all our lives, right?
Yes.
So to me, real success is aligned with my own values and with my heart. Well, my heart is aligned to my mission, right? But also my life, meaning that we should never forget about enjoying life. We should never forget about caring about ourselves and those we love, right? Because that is tricky. I think that entrepreneurs listening to this may understand. I think you understand. Absolutely. It's a fine line when we get so carried away with a fire within, with a passion, and before we know it, we may reach success the way I said first, which is the impact and the money, but it's not really success because we pay with our lives, we pay with our health, and everything else we sacrifice, right? So to me, that's no longer the way I see success. To be really successful, we have to be aligned with our values in the real life, not only with our mission.
Absolutely. Ooh, I love that definition. Oh my goodness. So Sara, I can't believe that time went by so quickly, but we always love to have you take about 90 seconds where it's just you on the microphone and in the camera, speaking to the audience, our listeners and viewers, with a quick, powerful mindset takeaway. We call it Mindset Bites to go. If you had 90 seconds to give someone the best piece of advice about stepping into their power and communicating like a queen, what would it be? So I'm going to step away from the microphone and the camera, and it's all you, Sara.
Dear queen sister, dear king brother, because I know there are men here too. Like I said before, always remember that you were born to be a queen. You were born to be a king. And don't let anybody else make you believe otherwise, including yourself. Your mind is a muscle. You are not static. You are made to grow. Whatever you've been through in your life, whatever challenges life has presented with you, know in your heart that you're never given more than you can handle. If you've given a lot of challenges, it's because you are equipped to handle them somewhere deep down. And once you push yourself through any challenges, you will come out stronger. It takes a lot of pressure to create a diamond. It takes pressure to create, for olive oil to be produced. And it takes pressure for you to become your best version. So keep that in mind, keep growing. And when you grow on your inside, it's also going to impact other people. So what I've been trying to say throughout this interview is that everything starts within you. Grow your self-confidence, your self-esteem, love yourself, be compassionate with yourself, embrace your flaws because nobody is perfect. And grow positive energy. Give yourself happiness and happy moments every day. Laugh every day. Even in times of challenges. I laughed at the hospital every day, even though I was very close to death. Because I knew how important laughter is. Laughter is important. Connect with your inner child. And together, that will make you impactful. You don't have to think about body language and all the things, even though it's important. Everything starts on your inside. This is why my first chapter and my first step in my program is about inner power. That muscle, build that muscle, and the rest will follow. Your life will change because your communication will change, and communication really is the key to success in any area of your life, be it your personal life, business, professional life, love life. Once you connect with yourself, you will connect with others.
It's perfect. It's perfect. We love those moments. I believe we're just going to have a a whole YouTube channel, which is all the what does success mean to me and the mindset bicycle. It's gonna be beautiful because we always get so much power and value from the moments, wrapping it all in nice bows. So Sara, everybody is listening and watching and wondering, so how do I get my hands on this book? How do I get connected with Sara? How do I get in touch with her work? I want to know about it. I want to be better communicator. I want to be better with myself so I can just be the best version of myself, specifically as a woman or just anyone who's looking to level up. How do we connect with you?
Thank you so much. So the website is www.becommunicationqueen.com. That is the place to go, both to check out the program and the Communication Queen Mentorship Program and the book, From Feeling Unseen to Speaking Like a Queen. So Be a Communication Queen is also the handle for social media, for Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube. What else is there? Snapchat. We are all over it. TikTok, Twitter. Me and my team, because we have this global vision, we are going out in all social medias, right? But currently we are focusing mostly on Instagram and Facebook, right? So Be a Communication Queen is both the website and the social media handle to go for. So yeah, I look forward to seeing you there, connecting with you there, and to supporting you in your journey to unleash your inner queen.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. And you all know we're going to have all the links in the description wherever you're watching or looking at this. Well, Sara, what an incredible conversation today. If you've ever felt unseen or struggled with self-expression, I hope that Sara's journey and insights have shown you that your voice matters and that you have the power to communicate with confidence and make an impact. As we've discussed, communication isn't just about speaking, it's about being heard, being understood, and owning your presence in every space you step into. So I encourage you to check out Sara's book, From Feeling Unseen to Speaking Like a Queen, at www.becommunicationqueen.com. It's packed with strategies to help you elevate your communication skills and step into the spotlight with confidence. And remember, your mindset is the foundation of your success. Keep mastering it, keep owning it, and I'll see you next time on Mindset Mastery Moments. Sara, thank you for being here, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you so much again for having me, and all the listeners. You have it all within. All I do is help you unleashing it.
Woo! Unleash the power of your communication mindset and win like a warrior. I'm Dr. Alisa Whyte with my dear friend Sara saying, keep mastering your mindset. We'll see you again soon. Bye now.